The death of Anthony Geary marked one of the most emotionally resonant moments in the history of American television. At 78, the actor whose portrayal of Luke Spencer on General Hospital defined an entire genre left behind a legacy that extended far beyond scripted dialogue or ratings milestones. His passing did not trigger loud announcements or immediate public ceremonies. Instead, it introduced a pause, one filled with reflection, remembrance, and a growing awareness that the final farewell of Anthony Geary would be handled with the same intentional privacy that defined his later life. Today, we are going to reveal funeral details. In the immediate aftermath of his death, tributes emerged from every corner of the entertainment industry. Actors, writers, producers, and longtime viewers shared stories that revealed the depth of Geary's influence. Yet amid the collective grief, one detail stood out clearly. There were no public funeral details. No official date was announced. No location was shared. No statement clarified whether a service would be open to colleagues or fans. In an era where such information is often disclosed quickly, this absence felt deliberate rather than incomplete. Confirmation of Anthony Geary's death came from his husband, Claudio Gama, who revealed that Geary passed away due to complications following a scheduled operation. The news shocked even those closest to him. Gama described Geary not only as his life partner of more than 3 decades, but as his closest friend and family. His words conveyed both loss and protection, a clear indication that this moment belonged first to those who loved Geary privately, not publicly. That perspective became central to understanding why funeral details were not immediately released. Anthony Geary spent much of his life balancing public visibility with personal boundaries. While his career placed him in the public eye for decades, he was deeply selective about what he shared beyond his work. This distinction grew stronger after his retirement from full-time acting in 2015. In stepping away, Geary made it clear that he wished to define his later years on his own terms. As fans waited for information about the funeral, the tone of the response was largely respectful. Rather than demanding access or answers, many expressed understanding. For viewers who had followed Geary's career for decades, the lack of details did not feel like exclusion. It felt consistent with who he was. Anthony Geary's connection to General Hospital remains one of the longest and most influential relationships between an actor and a television role. When he first appeared as Luke Spencer in 1978, daytime television rarely embraced moral ambiguity. Leading characters were often defined by clear lines between right and wrong. Geary challenged that model almost immediately. Luke Spencer was sharp, impulsive, wounded, and contradictory. He made mistakes. He faced consequences. He changed. Over nearly 40 years, Geary guided Luke through arcs that reflected emotional growth rather than convenience. Viewers watched Luke struggle, learn, and evolve in real time. That evolution paralleled the lives of the audience. People grew older alongside him. Their own challenges echoed in his journey. This long-form emotional investment created a bond that few television characters have ever achieved. Behind the scenes, Geary's influence was equally significant. He was known for questioning scripts, challenging shallow motivations, and pushing writers to respect the emotional intelligence of the audience. Many writers and producers have credited Geary with elevating storytelling standards, insisting that characters face the long-term impact of their choices. This approach reshaped not only Luke Spencer, but the creative direction of the show itself. The partnership between Luke Spencer and Laura Collins amplified that impact. Portrayed by Jeannie Francis, Laura became part of one of television's most enduring relationships. Their 1981 wedding episode drew more than 30 million viewers, setting a record that remains unmatched. But the significance of Luke and Laura was never limited to numbers. Their story represented emotional continuity, unfolding gradually and allowing audiences to invest deeply. Jeannie Francis's response to Geary's death reflected the complexity of their shared history. She spoke of sensing something was wrong before receiving confirmation of his passing. She also expressed sadness that time and distance had limited their communication in recent years. Her words resonated widely because they captured a universal truth. Long relationships evolve, drift, and remain meaningful even when contact fades. Other longtime colleagues echoed similar emotions. Ken Schreiner shared that he experienced what felt like a quiet farewell before learning of Geary's death, interpreting it as a final connection. Rick Springfield described Geary as intellectually curious and deeply generous. John Stamos emphasized Geary's leadership, noting that he set standards simply by how seriously he approached his work. These tributes revealed a man who influenced others not through authority, but through example. As public tributes continued, attention periodically returned to the question of Anthony Geary's funeral. Would it reflect his cultural significance? Would it include cast members from General Hospital? Would fans be invited to participate in some way? Over time, it became increasingly clear that the absence of information was intentional. The family was choosing privacy, not delay. Industry figures appeared to understand this instinctively. There were no leaks. No speculative reports gained traction. No unofficial confirmations circulated. In a media environment driven by immediacy, this restraint stood out. It suggested a collective respect for the boundaries Geary established in life and that his family was now protecting in death. Anthony Geary's decision to step away from the spotlight after retirement offers important context. After decades of daily visibility, he chose a quieter life. He relocated to Amsterdam, seeking simplicity and distance from industry expectations. In 2020, he married Claudio Gama, formalizing a partnership that had already endured many years. Friends described this period as reflective, peaceful, and deeply personal. Geary was no longer focused on legacy or recognition. He was focused on living fully, privately, and authentically. That choice continues to shape how his funeral is approached. A public ceremony would align with his professional legacy, but a private farewell aligns with who he became. The absence of a public announcement does not diminish his importance. Instead, it reinforces the values he embraced later in life. As of now, no official details regarding Anthony Geary's funeral have been released. There is no confirmed date, no announced location, and no public plan. The family has not indicated whether information will be shared in the future. Any updates will come only if and when they choose to make them public. Despite this absence, remembrance has not stalled. Fans continue to revisit classic episodes, share favorite scenes, and introduce Luke Spencer's story to younger viewers. Online discussions reflect gratitude rather than frustration. Many express appreciation for the decades of consistency Geary provided, describing how his work accompanied them through illness, loss, and personal change. General Hospital executive producer Frank Valentini summarized this sentiment in his official statement, noting that Geary set a standard of excellence that continues to guide the show. He emphasized that Luke Spencer's influence lives on through actors and writers who learn from Geary's commitment to depth, integrity, and emotional truth. This ongoing influence highlights a central reality. Anthony Geary's legacy does not depend on a public funeral. His impact is already deeply embedded in cultural memory. His performances continue to speak. His characters continue to resonate. His standards continue to shape storytelling. Funerals are often moments of closure, but in Geary's case, closure does not arrive through ceremony. It arrives through remembrance. Through reruns watched late at night. Through conversations sparked by familiar scenes. Through the recognition that storytelling, when done with honesty, leaves a permanent mark. Anthony Geary's life stands as proof that characters can become companions, that long-form storytelling can shape identity, and that authenticity builds trust across generations. While the details of his funeral remain private, his influence is unmistakably public. When the family decides to share more, the world will listen. Until then, Anthony Geary is remembered not through announcements or gatherings, but through the quiet respect he earned and the lasting emotional connection he created. His story continues, not in ceremonies, but in memory.